Hello and welcome to our first episode of Innovation Insights. We are thrilled to be launching this series where we sit down with innovators, thinkers, and other ecosystem leaders to distill emerging insights of technology, trends, and innovation across the world. Today, we are joined by Tom McInerney. Hi, Tom.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
He's a well-established angel investor, advisor, and close friend. Tom began his career as an engineer and as a scientist at Apple and Sony before pivoting into the world of investment and entrepreneurship. With almost 2 decades of experience, he's built an impressive portfolio, including seed investment in early-stage companies like Segment, Notion, or Clubhouse, along with some later-stage investment in unicorns like Uber. So let's get started. Tom, welcome, and thank you for being here with us today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. So to start, let me ask you to briefly introduce yourself with your own words. But I'm more interested on what were the key experiences that shaped your path and make you what you are today. I mean, this angel investor with such a big and nice portfolio that you have right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bit of luck in that I got a computer when I was 10 years old for Christmas. It was an Apple II, and I was very interested in that. I wanted one. And I started programming it and just I was making computer games in BASIC on Apple II. So this was a long time ago.
I remember BASIC.
In the 80s. So for older guys like us. But and then I went to work for Apple. I got a summer internship during college. I studied computer science. And then I got another summer intern. I got invited back, and then when I graduated, I went to work for Apple, which was a great experience. And that was right when Steve Jobs had come back. So his return.
Oh, lucky moment for you then.
Yeah. I mean, nobody realized, Apple was actually going through some difficult times, and nobody knew, of course, that he would have such tremendous success in his second go round. But you could feel the energy change. And then I went from Apple. I was recruited to Sony to work on the Vio computers.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
So those kind of purple-colored computers, which were pretty good for PCs. I think they were nice computers. And Sony, I actually had thought Sony with computing, consumer electronics, and then they owned a movie studio and a music studio, Sony Music, Sony Pictures. I thought that they would have been the ones to pull together the convergence of media and computing. In the end, it was Apple with the iPod. And
ironic, right?
Yeah. It's so ironic, interesting that. And I think the challenge Sony had is it was run as silos, and so they weren't able to work across as effectively. But anyway, and then I became an entrepreneur. And then started angel investing, as you say, almost 20 years ago. And I've had, I think I was lucky to be in a time when angel, it was a new thing. It was less crowded. I was one of the first to be going to Y Combinator.
Right.
So there would just be, 30 people in the room in Y Combinator. Now it's thousands and thousands of people that look at those deals. So it's definitely more competitive. But I think being early and happy to be in the right place at the right time. The thing I loved happened to transform the world in a profound way. But I fundamentally enjoyed computers. It was a passion of mine.
Right.
Yeah.
And how was the energy at that time? Because it was everything was emerging. People didn't know what they were doing. You probably didn't know either.
Yeah.
And you are there in this thing called Y Combinator. How did you feel the energy there? How it was growing around you, and what led you to make the first investment? That would be
Yeah. It's funny. My lawyer. So I knew after being an entrepreneur, I wanted to invest just because I didn't want the intensity of operating. Like when you're a founder, it's just so hard. It's so demanding. And so I knew I wanted to kind of help founders and be involved and do stuff. I had a lot of ideas, but I didn't want to stick to one idea. I wanted to try a few different things. And I didn't want the intensity of being a founder. So my lawyer showed me Airbnb. It was the second company that I'd seen. I passed on it stupidly.
But you can say it now. You didn't know at the moment,
right?
Oh
my gosh, that was a very expensive mistake. But I think that also missing it as it became more and more clear that it was working, it kind of pushed me to take more risk as an investor. because the cost of not doing something great is very, very high. You can only lose 1x your money, but you can lose many multiples if you miss something good. So I was making, writing small checks, sometimes 25,000, 50,000, sometimes 100, but lots of those early. And then as it started to work, as I started to develop confidence, I continued to do it. And then I've been able, nowadays there are more mechanisms to get liquidity, so you can recycle the capital and things.
So you started as an angel investor, and it seems to me you started because you were in the right place, the energy was there, you saw that as an opportunity, you bet into it, and then it started to happen.
Right.
But then you continue being an angel investor, and you are still today. So you found your way. And an angel investment, it's a very particular type of investment. It's very personal.
Yes.
It's very different than other institutional investors, even VCs that are more personal, but it's still an institution, right? It's a company, and they have their metrics.
It's different,
Totally different. You are betting with your own wealth, and you're betting in a personal way, and you become an actual mentor also of the entrepreneur, right? It's very different personal relation. They enter your family, let's put it that way.
Really often.
So can you tell me a little bit more about your philosophy of investment? What do you look into someone that you invest, and how has it evolved from the beginning? What have you learned in that process?
It's funny because you're always trying to distill, like, what's the trick to this, or what's the recipe? And it's there, as soon as you think you have figured it out, you get surprised. I had shares, for example, in this company, Northvolt. I had a battery company that was acquired by Northvolt, which is, is a huge European. They had Volvo and BMW, all these backers, VW, and had raised billions and billions in it and went bankrupt.
Yeah, recently. I mean, we are seeing that now.
I was shocked at that. That was going to be the European battery champion.
It was.
So you're always getting surprised. That's for sure. It's sort of like, they say, don't turn your back to the ocean because you could get hit by a wave. True, so that's definitely true. I found that it's really fundamentally about the founders, but particularly these days, the investment, you don't have a lot of time to spend with the founders. And so you're making a bet on them, but you get to know them probably after you've written the check.
I see.
And it's a little bit too late. You don't get your money back. So the ones that end up, But listen, for the most part, I'd say 80-90% of the founders I've worked with have been great.
Yeah.
And even if the company doesn't work, company building is hard. You assume it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you are investing in the founders, right? That's what I'm hearing from you.
Yes.
And what are if you can summarize, what is the click? What are the characteristics that will make a click? And it can be examples. I mean, what makes a click for you to say in those brief moments, because you don't know them yet, but there is something that you built as an intuition through that experience, right? You spend more time with them at the beginning of your career. Now you are getting this kind of more rapid intuition.
Yes.
What would be the click for you? When that happened?
It's a good question. I think there's like a story component of like kind of how they got started. Like what how did this idea, how is this their baby, right? Because it's their baby. How'd you come about having the baby? Maybe you worked in data your whole life and you got frustrated at this, or and by the way, some of my best companies have been pivots. So ultimately that they throw the baby out and get a new one.
True.
But it's kind of, it's a good question. I try to have a meal with the founder. I try to spend some time and I have a wide ranging conversation, and you get a feeling for their personality. You get a feeling for their vision.
Oh, wow.
And and then in future interactions, even in the closing, even how they handle the investment, are they just treating you like a commodity? Are they just doing an auction in terms of trying to get the best price? Are they looking for advice? Do you think they'll listen? Do you think they'll take feedback?
Right. So I'm hearing from you, it's a part of believing in that person, seeing the passion there, and then the trust, right?
That's right.
And with that, the rationality of
Yeah.
actions that come
And
with
you
that.
sometimes you back into the rationality. You know you like something, and then you figure out a
Exactly.
reason to do it.
Right. Oh, wonderful. So let me pivot into the large picture, because we went into how do you invest and look for these personal traits. But I want to understand a little bit more about how do you see technology. And nowadays we're seeing so much acceleration on technology, and it's we cannot keep pace. I mean, we are now with artificial intelligence, LLMs, and it's changing everything in the office. It was Web3 before that.
Yeah.
It's autonomous cars before. I mean, it's continually changing our life, and
Mobile.
it's going faster and faster.
Yeah.
So you, as someone that works in multiple sectors, because you don't have a specific sector,
Right.
and you have a broader view, can you share with us what are you seeing that are global technology or market trends that are emerging? What is the things that are more exciting for you right now?
Something that's happening is historically hardware was a space that people would avoid, and probably they still do avoid to a certain extent. But you're seeing in the U.S. a reshoring kind of emphasis, and that's a combination of national security, supply chain, post-COVID. So in this area, El Segundo in the Los Angeles area, there are nuclear startups, there are rocket startups. There's so I think there's new attention to building hard things. I've invested in a nuclear reactor, modular nuclear reactor. And honestly, when I did it, was a guy who'd been at SpaceX for a very long time and worked on some of the important projects there. So he was clearly very bright. He'd never done anything in nuclear. I asked him a bunch of questions about nuclear. He seemed to know what he was talking about. A guy named Doug, and the company's called Radiant. And if you'd have told me, though, they ended up getting money from Andreessen and some of the conventional VCs, I was pretty early on that one. Traditional VCs weren't really doing hardware, weren't really doing something, and then nuclear became kind of hot. So you've got to be weird, and you've got to be a little different. But no, in terms of trends, I think there's hardware. I think biotechnology in combination with AI is going to be very interesting. Materials is going to be very interesting, and AI is moving so quickly. Robotics, so the speed is almost overwhelming now.
Yeah, so in that part of bio, life sciences, and AI, I was talking recently with someone from Sandbox, the Google spin-off, and they were, the picture they were painting was like this market is growing at a rapid speed. It's so much money being pulled by the pharma and bio companies into this, that it's even growing even faster than the LLMs ones, and we are not noticing so much outside the sector. Is that your sense too? How are you seeing that going?
Yeah, I'm seeing some, and I'm not so deep in it, but I'm seeing the protein stuff and the folding, and the biology is so complicated that the tools required to understand it have to be so significant. So the speed at which we sequence the genome and the cost of the reduction in cost of sequencing the genome and doing it actually was faster than Moore's law, and it was bound by it's actually computer bound now, because the speed at which they were able to do that is faster than even the speed of like storage and data. So I think the biology and computing, there is definitely going to be more and more of a synthesis of those two domains, and the lab tools and machinery and
we go
simulation.
We go back to the GPU problem, right?
Exactly.
So we're going to need more and more no matter what.
Exactly. And quantum is interesting if it starts to work.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's go further on this, right? So if we think about the future, what do you think are the exciting technologies of these ones that we talked that are going to change the world for the next 10 years? And how do you see that world being 10 years from now? And I bring your daughter into this, because what would be the world of your daughter in 10 years when she starts her career, for instance?
It's very difficult to say. I think that technology has always been a tool to assist humans. So the replacement concerns are valid. But I think ultimately, if you look at all the tech and you look out at Tokyo here, I don't know if it's in focus, but the technology has ultimately we find something to do with it, and we find ways to keep busy. So even with AI, and I think that will be profoundly impactful on society. That probably, I was in Kyoto. I was alone. I had a little time. And I was using a ChatGPT to help me write a haiku. And then I started asking it questions about Japanese philosophers and poets and things. And so the effect that that's available at any time, any moment is super profound. So I think AI, and then perhaps AI and robotics are going to be really... it's going to be astonishing. There are some concerns around the weaponization of this kind of stuff, and biology and robotics, where you
always have the good thing and the bad thing potential there, right? So it's always there.
Exactly.
I think, but that's more human nature, right? It's human nature have these both things, and it's not the technology fault. It's what do we do with the technology?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Do you think we will get into the moment that we don't need to use the cell phone, that it was something like that will just pop up and we don't have to carry anything?
Yeah. I've been wondering for a long time. I would have thought the glasses would have been, and here we're in Tokyo. As a foreigner, I can't read Japanese. I'd be able to put on some glasses and just read fluently would be such a useful thing.
And speak, right? Translation directly.
Exactly.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So I think... I think the next form factor will probably be some kind of glasses and sort of augmented reality, and then maybe like the chip, the direct chip,
in the brain, with your thoughts, directly,
which is crazy,
Well, I buy that. It would be very useful.
Or maybe a hat or something.
Something like that, a cap, right?
Exactly.
All right. So this is perfect into the next question, because I was going to ask you about your experiences around the world, because you've been in the US, you've been in Europe, and you've been now you are here in Japan, and you've been an investor in all these locations, in Silicon Valley, in London, and now in Tokyo. So I want to ask you to give us a sense, a little bit of what is different about these locations.
Yeah.
And then why are you choosing Tokyo, and you are here in Tokyo today, right?
Yeah. Tokyo is a bit of a lifestyle thing for me. There's the fact that it's so clean and safe and wonderful. But it's also, I think, a very interesting moment for Japan.
All right.
And I think the government is working, and you and I have spoken about this. The government's working to increase entrepreneurship. There's a movement now, I think, in Japan to kind of invest more in tech and create more funds, and there's more dollars are being allocated to that. Culturally, I think things are shifting here as well. But it's interesting, each place. In the UK, in London, I was investing in a lot of biotech.
Right.
And
makes sense.
The government had also got that going, and plus you have great universities, Cambridge, Oxford, Imperial, etc.
Too,
So I got in with a circle of English biotech founders.
Wonderful.
And that was fun. In LA and San Francisco, it was obviously I'd done SaaS and deep tech and even some consumer businesses. But it's going to be interesting to see how it evolves here. But I'm bullish. I'm optimistic for Japan.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is totally true. I mean, the mood is changing, the energy is changing, and the direction of all the stakeholders is building. And having you choosing Tokyo, I know it's in part you mentioned lifestyle, but I think it's a combination of lifestyle plus this energy and this opportunity to also connect with the rest of the ecosystems from here. So I love that view of the world. I mean, it's a very nice one. All right, so I want to finish the interview with asking you a question to provide a little bit of wisdom for the new generation. So for someone that wants to be an entrepreneur, what would be your advice? They want to start and they want to do something hard, as you were saying. What would be your advice after seeing so many of them?
I'd say when you start the journey, make sure it's a bit like climbing Mount Everest or something. There,
with or
some
without
frozen
oxygen.
bodies at the top, and you really have to commit in a big way if you want to, especially if you're going to take outside money.
Yeah.
I think it has to be something you're passionate about ultimately because it's so demanding. And if you're passionate about it, then you're thinking about it in the shower. You're thinking about it all the time, and it's fun because you love it.
Yeah.
You care about it. You're, it's your thing.
Yeah.
And so you've got to have that passion, I think, to push you through the difficult times because there will be difficult times.
Many, obviously.
Yeah. So and maybe before doing one yourself. If I was a young person, I'd maybe go work with a startup that's got momentum, but not too big. Big companies, they move slowly. They're ossified. There's politics and all that. But being in a startup is fun. Yeah. And, another way to do it is being one of the first 20 people or 50 people, or if you catch the right one, if you're one of the first 1,000 people at Google or Facebook,
right.
You will have made plenty of money and you will have been on an incredible journey.
And you will learn how to wing it for your next project, right?
Absolutely.
That goes into that. All right. And just flipping the equation, what would be your advice for someone that wants to become angel investor?
An angel investor, Well, you have to have some money to lose. So think of it as going to the casino.
Well, imagine you are one of these 1,000 employees of Google, right? The new Google.
Exactly.
I have the money. I have the experience in entrepreneur, and I want to try angel investor instead of an entrepreneur.
Yeah. If I were one of the first, 100 guys at OpenAI or something like that, and I would allocate, I'd allocate, X number of bets, maybe 10 or 15. I do it over time.
Yeah.
I bet on the people that you think are smarter than you, where you come out of the meeting thinking, wow, that guy or girl is really sharp and really good. Yeah. And I do it in conjunction with other smart people.
Yeah. Instead of yourself, you look for some others that could back you, and you can also sell the experience. Yeah. It must be lonely if you do it by yourself only.
Exactly. And then the other thing is really, I do it in one of the major places like the Bay Area or, one of the top, say, 20 cities in the world, London, San Francisco, New York, Tokyo. I'd do it in a market where you see bigger companies emerging. Because the winner is going to have to pay for all the losers. And that's really the math. It's very sort of, asymptotic. And so, you have the few one or two that pay for everything, and then a trail of tears.
That's true. And that's what you got in the Silicon Valley when you started, and you were lucky just to catch some of those. And
absolutely,
here you are.
Yeah. One of my company's segment, it's still the most valuable private outcome from YC. So the public ones have been bigger, Airbnb and there are others. Yeah. But in terms of a private sale, it was about $3.7 billion, I think.
Wow, that's quite good.
And I invested at a $5 million valuation, so that was
a good deal.
That was a good one, and that paid for a lot of different misses that I've had.
Yeah, you need that, right?
You need it. You need the buffer.
Yeah. But it's also the impact, right? It's not only the investment, but what is the impact these companies will have in the world, and you are helping that happening.
100%.
That's the other side.
Yeah, and those founders have become good friends of mine.
Right,
very good friends of mine.
Yeah.
And have gone on and done other things.
More impact, you see.
Yeah,
that must be very rewarding at the end. So that's fantastic. Well, Tom, thank you so much.
Thank you
for participating and being here. Thank you for sharing the insights with our audience. We really appreciate that. For the audience that wants to follow you or wants to connect with you, what is the best way for them to contact you?
So my website is tgm.com, Tom George Mary, tgm.com, and I'm TGM as well on Twitter. So feel free to reach out, and would love to, anyone that has an idea, I'm happy to chat.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone.